Hi, my name is Naomi and I'm the creator of 2 and/or 4 who makes handmade products for your 2-legged loved ones and your 4-legged loved ones. This is part 2 of the video. So it took 3 videos in order to do this project. The first one was taking it from the PDF pattern, bringing it into Inkscape, and making it into an SVG that I could then bring into Embrilliance StitchArtist. So part 2 involves taking the SVG, which we created in part 1 from the PDF using Inkscape, and we're now going to be using Embrilliance StitchArtist. When you save files in StitchArtist, make sure you're saving it in the format that you're going to need it for. I once again would like to thank Choly Knight of CholyKnight.com for allowing me to use her pattern. Please check her out. Video links are in the description. As usual, please like and subscribe. Thank you.
So now I'm here in Embrilliance StitchArtist 3. I am going to just save file, new page, and then I'm going to go find, here it is. This is the create button. I'm going to click on that. That will give me, if you look all the way to the left, the image or vector. I'm going to click on vector, and I'm going to go find the file I created in Inkscape. But for some reason, it will bring it in with all these other lines, and I don't know why. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my objects panel at the right, and I'm going to click on the first line box there, and I'm going to go all the way down until I see the shape of the frog. And I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to click on the bottom one, and I'm going to hit delete. And that will get rid of all of those boxes. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. And then I'm going to go ahead and in my right-hand objects panel, click on everything, and I'm going to move it into my box. And I will then zoom in on my hoop here. There we go. So the zoom in, you can use this slider all the way right next to the objects panel, or at least the way I have my windows set up. And then what I want to do is I want to duplicate the outline. And I'm just going to click on it and copy, and then I'm going to right click again on it, and I'm just going to say paste over. At this point, it doesn't really matter which one I do. I'm going to click on one of them, and I am going to go up here to the menu, and I'm going to click on run. And I'm going to apply a run stitch to that. Oh, and I did it to the wrong one, so I'll just drag that to the top. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so I've made it a run stitch. This is going to be my placement stitch. So I'm going to change what that says to placement. And then I'm going to go down here, and it can be a single. And color, I'm going to click on color, and I know what colors I want to use. So I'm going to click in the box, and I'm going to put a number, 8680, and I'm just going to tell it to use the Irish green. Right now, when you see, this is my thread palette from Candle Thread, but I still have some Madeira thread, so if you see two numbers, it's because the first one is Candle, the second one is Madeira, and I still have that thread. I will say OK, and now I have my placement. The next step I want to do is, once I place my fabric down, I'm going to go ahead and once again I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to leave it down there for now. When I need it, I'll use it, but on this one, I am going to have clicked on the second one in my objects panel, and this time I'm going to do a run, but I'm going to do a double. So if you go underneath the objects, there's properties, and you can click on the type, and you can click on double. And then I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to make this color, and there we go. So the first one, and I'm bringing it back up for some reason, it went down there. So it's a double run. I've changed the color because this is actually my tack down. All right. Then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to work on the eyes. And that's the belly. This is one eye. This is the pupil of the other. All right, so this one. I want to cut out this hole in the eye. And I'm going to duplicate the pupil because we're going to be cutting that out and we'll need it again. So I'm just going to say copy and paste under. Okay, so I'm going to move this under here, and then I'm going to take both the pupil and the eyeball, okay, first thing I want to do is identify some of these because it's difficult. So I'm going to say left pupil, all right, and I'm going to change this to say left eye. Going to highlight, I'm going to hold my shift key and I'm going to click on both of them. And StitchArtist 3, this is not available in other levels, but it has a path thing, and you can cut out a hole. So I'm going to click on subtract, and then if you see in the objects panel, this now has the left eye with a hole. I still have a pupil there because I duplicated it. And I'm just going to do undo for that. All right, so now this is, oh, I undid it. So let's do it again. Up to the path menu, and we are going to do a subtract. And there we go. Now we have the left eye. And then I'm going to say this is left pupil. And I'm actually going to bring it down one because I want it to be on top of the left eye. I'm going to go back to the left eye and I'm going to fill it. And we're just going to do a fill stitch. And I'm going to do a travel edge just to make it cleaner. And I'm going to change the color to black. All right. And now the left pupil, as you see, whenever you work on something, it seems to bring it down to the bottom. So you need to make sure when you're done to rearrange them. All right. I'm going to do the same thing with the pupil, travel edge, but this time the color, I want white. Now I could go scrolling or whatever, but I happen to know the numbers. And now we have that. And instead of, I could redo the same thing on this one. Or I could just duplicate the left eye. I'm just renaming them. All right. So now I've renamed them. I can click on them and I can actually group them. So if I go up to edit, group, or control G, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to say copy and paste under. And I'll just use the other one as placement. And then I'm going to go, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and delete the other one. At this point, I want to save because I've done quite a bit. So file, save, I'm going to say 5-inch toy, and I'm going to go ahead. Mine says it already exists because it does, but I'm going to go ahead and override it and say yes. Yours will not say that if you're giving it a new name. All right. So now I want to think about how do I want this done. So here I have a placement stitch and I'll put a stop in after that, put my fabric down, then it does the tack down. And then what do I want it to do next? I think I'll have it go and do a do the eyes. So I'm going to take these and these. This is not left. This is right. All right, I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to move them up. All right, now I want to work on his mouth or nose. I'm not sure what it is, but at any rate, I'm going to go and I'm just going to fill that. I'm keeping this as simple as possible because it's for the dogs and I don't want fancy stitching that, you know, they can get a thread stuck in their teeth and so forth. And then I'm going to change the color to black. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this. And I'm actually going to have it do it right after the tack down of the fabric. I'm going to move this down. This is the belly. We'll get to that in a minute. So it's going to do that. And then it's going to do the right eye. And then I'll have it do the, well, you know, it doesn't really matter because I have a multi-needle. But if you don't, you may want to stick to the same thread so you don't have to keep changing your threads. So here I have black, 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 and then right pupil white, left pupil. And actually I'm going to switch the order of this so it doesn't even have to jump over there. So I moved it because it'll do the left eye and then the left pupil. All right, so now we have the belly. What I want to do is I definitely want to duplicate that. So copy, paste under. It really doesn't matter at this point which one. Do the first one. I'm going to say it's the belly tack down. So I'm going to go up to my stitches. I'm going to make it a run, and it can just be a single run. And I'm going to change the color to 8680. No, that's my belly placement. All right. And then I'm going to have my tack down. But before that, I'm going to just duplicate this one more time. All right. So we'll work that. This is going to be my tack down for my fabric. 1/6. Okay. And that is the belly. Oh, wait, I didn't assign a property. Okay. Do that first. Bring it back up after the belly placement. And then this final one is going to be a satin stitch. Pick a satin stitch up at the top. And all of this is fine. The color I want to make it white. All right, I'm going to save again. I need to work on getting a back fabric on this. I'm going to move this belly satin border up. And then I'm going to click on that. I'm going to duplicate it again. Copy and paste under. All right. So on this one, we're going to be tacking down the back fabric. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make this a run, and I'm going to make it a double. It's a double. The color is going to be 8726. All right. And I'm going to move this up. And call it the back. All right. Once I have that, I am going to do the final one, which is going to be an applique type stitch. I found that it really works well in the microfiber fabric. And I'm going to, stitch length is going to be 3.5. And that can stay the same. Color is going to be 8726. All right, and I'm going to save again. Now, you could be done at this point, but I think I'm going to put a little separate file, a little separate as a tab thing down here. And I'm going to do that by just drawing with points. And I'm going to go here. And in order to make it a straight line, I'm going to use the Control key. I don't want to attach it. And I'm also going to end up moving it. I can adjust. Okay. So this is actually separate. Let me fix this so it's straighter. Okay. And I'm going to make it just a little bigger because I want it about a 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's going to be good. Now, but I'm going to move this up because I'm actually going to have it do it when it does this placement stitch. I'm going to change the color. And the reason I'm going to do it up there is because I don't want this on the back. If I do this on the back, it's going to close it. So I just want it on the front. And it's just to remind me to cut out a tab. You do not have to do this. You can close your project without it, but I'm actually going to make this with Velcro. Now you can go and assign a run. I am going to just make this a single because it's just a reference for me. All right, and now I'm going to go to File, Save. And that's it. We're done. We can take it to the embroidery machine. The only other thing that I might do is I might tell it to center in the hoop. Just because I always like to start that way. So the last thing I would do is I would go up to the top to the needle with thread through it. It's the stitch simulator. And I would click on that and I would take a look to see if there were any issues with the stitching. So right here, we're doing a placement stitch for the fabric. When it stops, I will have a stop after this. And then I'll place my fabric down. And I have the tab because I'm doing one with a tab. And now I've placed the fabric down. And it is doing the tack down stitch. So it's a double, so it's going back. And then it is going to do the mouth and then the eyes, the black of the eyes. And we can speed it up a little if you take this little bar and there you go. See the hole? Then it's going to do the white of the eyes. And then it's doing the placement for the belly. Now it's tacking down the belly. Now we're doing the satin stitch. And I would have 2 stops here. One to place the fabric down, and then the next one to cut it out. And then that's it. So I tend to print out my designs from Embrilliance, and then I'll just write where I want to put stops in and what I'm going to be doing. So I hope you find this helpful. We're gonna, part 3 of this video is when we actually take it to the machine and stitch it out. Thank you for watching.